All right, hi everyone. We are going to start the lectures for HED 241 Biostatistics and Public Health. These lectures are coming out of your white book, The Making Sense of Statistics. So your first lecture is going to be on Section 1, Part A, the research context. This is page 3 through 5 in your book. Make sure before you watch your lectures that you've read the book. It's going to really make the lectures make more sense. Feel free to pause the lectures, listen to the lectures again. I'm going to try to keep them pretty brief so that they don't take up a ton of time, but that way you can go back and you can rewatch. But make sure you take notes, anything like that. If you have a question, make sure you jot it down and get back to me on that. That being said, the textbook we are using is in a workbook format so that you can read and then answer questions pertaining to the chapter. So there are 4 parts to the textbook. Each section is labeled as such. The first part is Part A, the research context. If you look in your syllabus, you will see that we're going to do it within sections, and I'm going to test you on each of these sections. So within Section 1, the empirical approach to knowledge is Section 1. When we talk about empiricalism, we're referring to using direct observation to obtain knowledge. The empirical approach is based on making observations of individuals or objects of interest. An example of this is when you see a police officer at a certain intersection or hiding in a location frequently. For instance, if we observe that a police officer regularly hides behind the bushes at a certain intersection and frequently issues tickets at that location, we might say we know that someone who runs a stop sign at that intersection is likely to get a ticket. If we know the officer hides at that particular intersection, we might say that someone speeding past that location is likely to get a ticket. This is making an everyday observation, just something that you see every day, maybe driving to work, driving to school, and using it as an application of an empirical approach. When looking at empirical research and acquiring knowledge, most researchers are very systematic. Empirical research is planned in advance. This is a major distinction between empirical research and everyday observation. Research questions are developed, and then the researchers plan who, how, when, and under what circumstances to observe in order to answer the question. Additionally, the questions and planning are based on a theory or a hunch. So it's not something that they just come up with off the top of their head and just do right then, or they see something and decide to do it. It's very planned and it's theory-based or based on a hunch. Generalizations based on everyday observations are often misleading. Using the example in the text, so you need to have read your text, suppose you observe that most of your friends plan to vote in favor of a school board measure to build new schools. Unless they are a good cross-section of the electorate, which is unlikely, you may be wrong if you generalize to the population of voters and predict the measure will pass in the election. Some of the population of voters may agree with you and your friends. Others may disagree and vote no. Still others may be undecided, which means they could go either way or choose not to vote at all. Most researchers systematically use the empirical approach to acquire knowledge. They plan whom or what to observe. When we could be looking at all public school teachers in Pennsylvania, which is known as a population. When a population is large, the researchers may plan to observe only a small subset of the population, which is known as a sample. Researchers will also know how to draw an adequate sample, which is important to conducting valid research. Researchers will also plan how to observe by deciding whether to construct new measuring instruments or selecting instruments that have been developed by others. For instance, researchers may review existing multiple choice tests and select those that are valid for answering their research questions. They also might do observations, focus groups, or one-on-one interviews. For those of you who are in social sciences, you may find that interviewing and focus groups are used in your research. Psychology students may find personality skills or observational research is utilized. Within public health, you'll actually find both interviewing, focus groups, and scales and observation are used. So we kind of fall in the middle there, and we kind of use bits and pieces of all of it. When to observe. Researchers will also determine when observations will be made. For instance, will observations be made in the morning or late at night? The timing of the observations may affect the results of the research. As you can see in these pictures, many people are walking during the daylight, but only a few are walking at night. People may also be reluctant to talk to a researcher at night when it's dark or after a long day at work. Under what circumstances? Researchers also will plan observations under particular circumstances. Questioning people about their 4th of July plans during the Christmas season in a busy shopping mall is probably not a good idea. But questioning people about their 4th of July plans on a less busy day during the summer prior to the 4th of July probably is a good idea. Constraints on research. But not all plans are good plans. Even the best plans often cannot be executed because of physical, ethical, legal, or financial constraints. For students, it is often financial constraints that make it difficult to conduct research. Here are several terms you need to be familiar with. When conducting research with individuals, the term subject is traditionally used. You may hear the term participant used for an individual as well. The differences between the terms are often thought of as a difference between one who has not consented to participate, i.e. the subject, and one who has consented to participate, i.e. the participant. Additionally, animals are considered subjects as they do not have the ability to consent. When individuals are referred to as a subject, it usually means the individuals were observed unobtrusively without consent. An example of this might be going to McDonald's and observing subjects ordering food or seeing what type of cars come through the drive-thru. Respondent is the most frequently used term for individuals who respond to surveys or take examinations. Examinees is sometimes used for participants who have taken an examination, such as an achievement test for research on the validity of the test. Participants will be used in this text and whenever I do lectures, as is the most common used term in research reports in the social and behavioral sciences. Section 1, questions. You will notice that these questions 1 through 9 are listed on page 5 and 6 of your textbook. These make up part of your assignment 1. You will go through these and follow the directions within the assignment 1, answer these questions, and submit them by their due date. If you have any questions, please let me know and I will be happy to assist. Hope this section makes sense to you all. If not, definitely let me know.